Regulations can certainly add to the burdens and hurdles of researchers, but we have to weigh the benefits of those regulations against the cost. I want to thank Dr. Bienenstock and Dr. Sedwick for bringing their thoughtful reports to our attention. Those studies provide plenty of examples of places where we can pare back on the bureaucratic burdens to free up our professors to do the work we really want them to do. I'm also very pleased to have Mrs. Lerner here to tell us what information really is necessary to collect to avoid fraud and wasteful grants. That's so important. With scientists spending 40% of their time perhaps on this paperwork, and I've even seen larger amounts of time, this is an extremely important thing to make sure that we reduce anything unnecessary to allow them to spend more of their time doing science. But I would be, I think, remiss if I didn't bring up that the so much time and energy of a researcher simply comes from applying for grants, the same grant for the same research project over and over and over again. And with 80% of applications for grants going unfunded, even very, very promising proposals are not funded simply because there are insufficient funds. Researchers spend an enormous amount of time chasing money from an increasingly smaller pot. Unfortunately, the first act that we marked up a few weeks ago in the full committee failed to provide an authorization that even matches the already constrained level offered by the appropriators. Now, I'm not trying to be partisan on this. I actually believe the President also has not done enough in terms of funding science and in terms of real buying power, the cost of science. We've seen that the actual funds have gone down for research from the Federal Government. And by failing to provide more robust funding, I fear that we consign many researchers to hours and hours of unfunded effort that will, 4 out of 5 times, only result in failure. That also constitutes a huge hidden cost. Now, we need scientists. We need scientists in this country to do the science, not paperwork burdens, not applying again and again and again for the same grant because there's so little funding. Now, I realize there are a lot of burdens obviously on Federal funds. But if we don't do it, Mr. Chairman, I fear that, first of all, competitors such as China and others will overtake us very quickly in terms of research on science, but also we are putting our society at a far higher cost. This is a capital investment when we invest in scientific research. It is not the same thing as throwing money out the window. In fact, societies for thousands and thousands of years, even if they had 0 social programs, still invested in scientific research. And those that didn't, did it at their peril. So I'm very, very grateful to you for having this hearing. I think it's very important to reduce the paperwork burden, but I do want to make sure that we put it in the proper context, that it isn't the only thing that's going to solve the problem of scientists spending so much time doing things other than science. And I yield back, Mr. Chairman.